Maria whispered almost silently, her voice cold as ice as she spoke to the keyhole of her own apartment. "Darling, I have a surprise for you. The one you truly deserve." The keys felt unfamiliar in her hand, their metal cold against her skin. In her other hand, heavy shopping bags from an upscale gourmet store pulled at her arm. The scent of a freshly baked baguette drifted from inside, mixed with fragrant basil and, if she inhaled carefully, the unmistakable aroma of truffle goat cheese, the one John adored and Emma always wrinkled her nose at, claiming it smelled like an old wine cellar. How ironic, everything about today was drenched in irony. Every detail of this carefully prepared evening was nothing more than a prop for the final act of her performance. She caught a glimpse of her reflection in the dark peephole of the neighbor's door. Who was this woman? Her face looked calm. A faint, tired smile rested on the corners of her lips. Nothing in her eyes revealed the freezing fire that had been burning inside her for the past 93 days. For 93 days she had been an actress. She played the role of a loving wife who suspected nothing. She listened patiently while John complained about exhausting days at work. She nodded sympathetically whenever Emma talked about her inattentive husband. But every night, after the house fell silent, Maria sat alone in front of her laptop like a spider weaving its web. She gathered evidence. Screenshots. Bank statements, emails, messages. Every tiny lie, every hidden meeting. Every secret transaction. She planned everything with absolute precision, and now the day had finally arrived. 21 years since the day she and John first met. The perfect anniversary to bury a marriage. The key slid into the lock and turned with the familiar click that had once made this apartment feel like home. Not anymore. Now it sounded like the opening note of a carefully rehearsed performance. Maria stepped inside deliberately, placing the shopping bags loudly on the floor. One orange rolled out, slowly making its way across the hallway until it stopped beside the old wooden cabinet. "John. I'm home. I got back earlier than expected." Her voice was cheerful, perfectly rehearsed over the past 3 months. Not a single false note. Silence answered her. Not empty silence. A heavy silence filled with someone else's presence. Maria inhaled deeply, almost theatrically. She smelled her expensive perfume. The leather of her handbag. And then, there it was. A sweet, familiar fragrance. Emma's favorite perfume. How cheap. How predictable. From the bedroom, their bedroom, came a muffled rustle, followed by hurried whispers. Of course they were there. Exactly where she expected them to be. Every calculation she had made after reading months of their secret messages had been correct. Thursday afternoon. The perfect time. Her heart didn't skip a beat. It continued to beat steadily, like the ticking of a metronome counting down the final moments of her husband's miserable performance. She didn't bother walking quietly. Why should she? This was her home. Her territory. She calmly slipped off her heels and walked into the kitchen. Maria calmly pressed the button on the electric kettle. The sharp click echoed through the apartment. Not because she wanted tea. She wanted them to hear it. She wanted to give them a few seconds to understand exactly how hopeless their situation had become. Let the adrenaline rush through their veins. Let fear do its work. Then she heard it. A quiet, nervous laugh. Emma. Maria knew that laugh better than anyone. It was the laugh Emma always let out when embarrassment became unbearable. That single sound became the final nail in the coffin of their 20-year friendship. Maria returned to the hallway and picked up the bottle of champagne. The cool glass felt pleasantly cold in her hand. It was a bottle of Veuve Clicquot 1998, carefully saved for a truly special occasion. Well, this certainly qualified. She walked slowly down the hallway. On the walls hung photographs from a life that no longer existed. There was one of her and John in Paris, young, deeply in love, convinced nothing could ever separate them. Another showed her and Emma laughing until they cried at a birthday party years ago. Now they looked like scenes from someone else's life. Someone else's memories. The bedroom door was slightly open. A thin strip of warm light stretched across the hardwood floor. Maria didn't peek inside. She simply pushed the door open. It swung silently, like a theater curtain rising before the final act. For a brief second, neither of them noticed her. John stood beside the bed wearing nothing but an open bathrobe. Emma desperately clutched a silk sheet around herself as she sat on Maria's bed. In Maria's house, the world didn't collapse. It simply revealed its true, ugly face. This wasn't shock. It was confirmation. Both of them froze like frightened animals caught in headlights. John jerked backward. The color drained instantly from his face until it became almost ghostly white. Emma's expression changed from panic to outrage, and finally to overwhelming shame as a deep blush spread across her neck and shoulders. The silence became so complete that the whistle of the boiling kettle in the kitchen sounded deafening. They were waiting. Waiting for screams. For accusations. For broken dishes. For the dramatic scene every guilty lover expects. But Maria said nothing. She slowly looked around the room with calm, emotionless eyes. John's shirt lay carelessly over a chair. Emma's shoes rested beside the bed. The room was a mess. Not because of passion. Because of carelessness. Because of vulgarity. She walked to the dressing table and gently placed the bottle of champagne on the glass surface. Clink. The sound made both of them flinch. "Go on," Maria said quietly. "Don't stop." Her soft voice cut through the room like a surgeon's scalpel. "It looks like you're celebrating something. So I thought I'd bring the champagne. An occasion like this deserves it." "Maria." John finally managed to speak. His voice sounded hoarse. Almost unfamiliar. "Maria, this isn't what it looks like."